pleasure to welcome our speaker, Dr. Rohitashu Yadav. He is an assistant professor in the Department of English, Central University of Punjab, India. We are honored to have you with us in this session, sir. I kindly request you to take over this session, sir.
Thank you, Sarah. Good morning, everyone. So, in this session, I'll be talking about crackers as cyborgs and post-human figures in Margaret Atwood's Oryx and Crick. I'll be talking about like how crackers have been portrayed, and there are some other supporting characters in this particular novel. They have been portrayed as post-human figures and cyborgs in Oryx and Crick. So let me share my screen. Is it visible to you all? Somebody please confirm.
Yes, sir.
I'll be talking about what post-humanism is, what post-human is, and then what are various agencies of post-humanization, like how people uh, convert from human to post-humanism, what are various mediating agencies between human and post-human and cyborgs. Then I'll be talking about what cyborgs are, how they are somewhat different, somewhat similar to post-human humans, and then how they are different from humans. And post-human cyborgs in Oryx and Creek. I'll be discussing that entire scenario which has been portrayed in the novel. Basically, post-humans are citizens. They have prosthetic inclusions in their bodies. They have some sort of artificially employed uh, organs in their bodies, some original organs. Then there is sort of technologically occupied citizens. They have been included some sort of technologically mediated inclusions in their bodies. Then, if you talk about next things, they are genetically engineered beings. They have modified, they have been uh, transformed in certain way uh, in their uh, in their body. That can be related to that cognitive sense, and that can be in the sense of biological sense. They are a sort of clone bodies. They are like copies of one another. They all similar one like everyone else. They are product of computer simulation, cybernetic mechanism, and biological organisms. This is what has been said by Catherine Hell, who wrote in How We Became Post-Human. Then Ihab Hassan, in his book, in essay, this published in 1976, Prometheus as Performer Towards a Post-Humanist Culture, states that we need first to understand that, I quote him, we need to first understand that the human form, including human desire and all its external representations, may be changing radically and thus may be reversioned. We need to understand that 500 years of humanism may be coming to an end as humanism transforms itself into something that we must helplessly call post-humanism. That's what has been said, rightly said by Ihab Hassan. And he was the first propounders of this particular theory. He laid foundation of post-humanism. Then I talked about agency of post-humanization, like desire for, like how we become post-human. When we desire a sort of luxurious life, we invent some sort of technology. We have desire for something to make our life much more comfortable. For that purpose, if there is any kind of biological disability in somebody, like any kind of disease, any kind of biological limit, then people try. There are a lot many scientists who are working in that particular direction, and they are trying to overcome these kind of biological limits, and they're transforming human beings from towards a sort of generation which we can call post-human, a sort of cyborgs. They have some sort of inclusion of technology and some sort of artificial prosthesis and original prosthesis. Let me explain what artificial prosthesis is and original prosthesis is. When somebody lost his leg or hand or does not have a leg or hand or any kind of organ which is replaced by some sort of artificial leg, artificial hand, or any kind of artificial organ. In the case of original prosthesis, it basically means that somebody's organ is replaced with some other organ, and that is originally taken from somebody else's body and transplanted to somebody else. Then biotechnology is bringing a sort of revolutionary changes in human life. Francis Fukuyama talks about in biotechnological revolution in his book called Our Post-Human Future. That book is remarkably talking about how biotechnology and genetic engineering has transformed entire human society and basically ventures towards providing a different kind of society. Then communication technologies are also offering various means by which we can see the society has been transformed. Then cloning is another popular technological method which is banned in most of the countries, and it is a way of replicating human beings with their existing qualities, existing humanitarian traits, and physical abilities, physical appearance. And there are a lot many research institutes who are working in this particular direction. It basically criticizes the anthropocentric humanism. The critical aspect of post-humanism basically critiques anthropocentric humanism. Anthropocentric humanism basically focuses on human-centric developments. They are done for human purpose only. They are like non-human species are sidelined. Um, so they are a different kind of like humans are kept at the center of developments, and the non-human species and the environment, they are put aside, they are on the periphery. Then there are some other ways of calling somebody post-human. If somebody is using any kind of genetic mutation, using desktops, and excessively indulging with some kind of home theater, camera, Kindle. If we have any kind of technological extension in our life, which is called post-human, and then technologically occupied situation, that also indicates towards that we are possibly post-humans. And Catherine Hale in her book rightly says that we are post-humans. When she talks about information patterns over material instantiation, then she says that we are post-human. If there is any kind of embodiment in the kind of biological substrate, then we are post-humans. And then if there is any kind of change in any kind of physical outer appearance, and then cognitive process, and she laid foundation of this idea post humanism in critical discourse and popular discourse and cultural discourse, by way of highlighting issues of Rene Descartes' idea when he talked about that he was a mind thinking machine. And then further, Catherine Hale talks about that a post-human view thinks about that body is a sort of original prosthesis. It's a sort of organ continuum, and organs of somebody can be transplanted to somebody else. So this is how we are in a continuous process of becoming post-human. Later on, she talks about that post-human view basically configures human beings, and that can be articulated with seamlessly articulated with intelligent machines. That we can There are a lot many machines which can perform the tasks which are performed by human beings. We can talk about labor tasks. We can talk about a lot many calculations done by people, and that too has been portrayed in science fictions, with a lot many novels. They talk about such kind of characters, situations. They employ such kind of electronic characters in the novels, and then that we have robots in science fictions. We have biologically and genetically engineered beings in in the novels. And then I'm skipping one or two slides. Cherish Hebels Gray in his book uh, Cyborg Citizens: Politics in the Post-Human Age writes about if you have been technologically modified in a significant way, in somewhat way, then you are a post-human. If you are using any kind of technological device, if you are mediated by some sort of technology, if you have technologically transformed yourself, that too has got some kind of implications of cyborgs, that you are cyborg citizens. Dana Haraway employs this that there's a sort of word she has used, a hybrid of hybrid of machine and organism, which is he uses this term for cyborgs, and that has uh, implications of uh, cyborgs in human beings. So, Catherine Hale's words, how we became post-human. So, word became has got implication that we are already post-humans. We are already cyborgs, and we are humans of. Uh, she talks about like became the word has implication of humans of extended capacities, and then basically post-human crosses normality threshold. Normality, what I mean that innate human qualities, human born with innate human qualities, no any kind of technological uh, uh, advancement, no any kind of biological change in somebody's genetic line, no any kind of transformation, no any kind of vaccine provided to somebody. So post-human is somebody who is transforming oneself from innate human qualities, innate human characteristics to in a direction of transhuman, in a direction of perfect human beings. Then Catherine Hale also calls this sort of development, this sort of advancement, a sort of techno-scientific colonization. In a very sense, I would explain it in the sense that uh, when somebody is much more occupied with technological gadgets and devices, they are much more dependent on. Once they are getting into the habit of using technological advanced devices and lot many machines, equipments, they become dependent on. They reach in a later stage, they are helpless when without such kind of technologies. We feel helpless when we do not have medicines. We feel helpless when we do not have electricity. We feel helpless. We do not have vehicles. So once we introduce such kind of things, we are a sort of uh, colonized in a sense, not but not negatively. But it has got both positive and negative implications. Positive facilitates, negative basically creates trouble for human beings. And I'm skipping few lines from the theoretical portion. Now I'm talking about the text which I have selected, post-human cyborgs in Oryx and Crick. Basically, the fictional universe of Margaret Atwood, Oryx and Crick, which published in 2003. It's a sort of trilogy which came up in the three-book series. Second one is The Year of the Flood, it's published in 2009. Then Mad Adam trilogy, which published in 2013. So it talks about effects of digitalization and then bioterrorism and the kind of manipulation done in the genetic line of the animals and then human beings, and how we see that human beings are entirely different than genetically created human beings. They are extraordinarily different from human beings. The technological advancement basically attract people just because they have different kind of comfort, luxury, then numerous entertainment platforms. They are effective in numerous sense. That's why they attract people, and they have a sort of allurement for people. So the rise of genetic engineering and organ harvesting has also contributed to the idea of post-humanism. It has been uh, it it contributed in the philosophical foundation of post-humanism when theorists and philosophers thinking about new concept post-humanism in 1990s and 80s. There are lot many novels, science fictions like George Orwell's 1984, and then Brave New World, Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, then Margaret Atwood's uh, The Handmaid's Tale, and then lot many novels they were talking about. And then Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, that also has got that kind of like implication. They talk about how technology uh, attempts to transform human society in positive way, and then how it turns dystopic in the very sense of its transformation. Then when this basically the novel talks about that these kind of technology have been adopted by multinational corporations, and they are doing a sort of good business. They are creating kidney, and then liver, lot many human bodily organs in the bodies of pigs. They are known as pigoons. And the project which they have undertaken is that is Pigoon project in this particular novel. So they are creating human organs and then they are selling them into the market. And then people are getting transplanted that kind of organs. That is known as original prosthesis. Then what's wrong with this? Like if we say then what's wrong? It is facilitating human beings, but at the end of the at the end of the day, it is anthropocentric humanism. Let me say anthropocentric humanism. It talks about only human-centric developments at the cost of providing facilitating human beings. It is harming pigs and uh, animals. The animal suffers a lot. The kind of multiple organs are grown in the bodies. So it portrays a lot many genetically modified creatures. There are oryx, fake, pigeons, woolworks. They are a different kind of characters. They have been created with the help of technology, biotechnology, genetic engineering. Oryx are a sort of species. Then crackers are also a sort of species. They are like all human beings. They all look similar. They all are uh, similar in their actions, in their thinking process. Then pigoons are the pigs, specifically domesticated animals, pet animals in which in their bodies human organs are created. Then woolworks are the guarding wolves. They are also specifically designed for guarding purpose, that particular project area. Then, if you talk about the novel in detail, then Jimmy is the only one person who is portrayed as a normal human being. His father is also a normal human being, and his mother is also a normal. There are three people who have been portrayed as human beings. Except for them, others are quakers, oryx, and then pigoons, woolworks. They are all genetically designed animals and human beings. So now we talk about what's wrong with the society. Quakers actually they plan to overtake the human society. The fictional universe of Oryx and Crake talks about how Quakers try to dominate human beings, and they have created a sort of not disease, that medicine that is known Bliss Plus, that basically a soul to the people by way of telling that it enhances their cognitive capacities, sexual capacities, and then it is sold into the market. But the negative aspects of this medicine, this pill, is not highlighted. It basically destroys the reproductive capacities of human beings, and then they are turned into this is how there is a huge drop in the human population. So Craig basically appoints Jimmy as an advertising agent for this plus pill, and then he is selling them into the market. He denies Jimmy to use this medicine on him because he is good friend of him and working very hard with him to popularize this kind of medicine. So art would basically interrogate such kind of anthropocentric activities which are being done in various research institutes and where many scientific institutes. They are doing trial and error research methods and creating new technologies, new kind of species, and that's somewhere contributing, that's somewhere distorting the genetic line of human beings, genetic line of animals. If you talk about this novel, then pigs are basically used for this purpose. So domesticating any animal for human purpose, domesticating any animal for assistance, for help, that is a good idea. But playing with its breed, playing it um, with its genetic line and changing it into a different, that is somewhere dangerous. That's somewhere horrific because it's somewhere ends us into a society which ends up, which takes us ending up the existing species and create new species in this world. It also indicates, the novelist also indicates towards the idea which is taking over as bioterrorism. There is a sort of plague that is destroying the population in the world, and then there is a sort of biological catastrophe which can be seen because human population has reduced. Only crackers, oryx, wolflaws, pigeons, genetically modified uh, creatures can be seen around. So, in the very sense, Atwood's Oryx and Craig does not celebrate technology. It basically criticizes bioethics, anthropocentrism, and biotechnological advancements. It basically criticizes. It basically does not celebrate any kind of technological advancement which is done, and it also shows a sort of concern for environmental degradation. It also shows a sort of worry as to how biotechnological advancements taking human society in a dystopic situation. As I'm talking about like how pigs' bodies are having capacities of creating multiple organs, as Atwood writes in her novel, the goal of the Pigun project was to grow an assortment of foolproof human tissue organs in a transgenic knockout pig host, organs that would transplant smoothly and avoid rejection, but would also be able to fend off attacks by opportunistic microbes and viruses, of which there were more strains every year. She basically emphasizes that how they are trying to, their attempts to create some sort of organs. They are not polluted by any kind of insects or virus. They are creating a sort of uh, original prosthesis, which is very helpful for human beings. But on the other side, uh, how they are giving a sort of torture to the animals. So crackers are basically a result of biotechnological experimentation done on human beings. They are, in fact, they have a sort of better life expectancy than normal human beings. They also have intent to establish a good business that seems precisely against human animal species and law of nature. So that is a sort of postponing human life that basically extends the not postpones the mortal nature of human life. Atwood writes that these Atwood writes about the blissless pills that the pills would also act as a surefire on time does it all birth control pills for male and female alike, thus automatically lowering the population level. This effect would be made uh, reversible through not in individual subjects by altering the components of the pills as neglected. So if the population of any one area got too low, so she talks about like how the Quakers, these genetically engineered beings, plan to destroy human population and want to take over uh, entire society. It's a sort of a speculative fiction, a sort of science fiction, which has got a futuristic vision based on current technological trends and developments, the kind of technological developments we are having now, what kind of technology we can have after few years, like after 30 years or 50 years. Jimmy and Craig, they always seem busy in digital landscape. They're always seen busy doing something over there. And then if we talk about uh, Craig, he always tries to disrupt Jimmy's schedule. If you see before Jimmy came into the contact of Craig, he was always busy in studying, going to the library and studying about religion, politics, society, and he used to watch something related to some documentaries related to animals, nature. And after coming into the contact with Craig, he excessively becomes busy uh, with digital world. He's always watching porn movies, and he's always busy in doing some other kind of stuff over there. And then he has fantasy of the kind of girls which he is watching in video. videos of the websites. If we have to conclude that what is there in the how these cyborgs and post-human figures are um, are a sort of creatures. They are different from human beings. Crackers or ex pigoons and volcanoes, they are cyborgs because they have been modified in certain way and they are entirely different from the normal human beings. Crackers, they are entirely genetically modified. They are modified beings. They are against human beings. They are against this human world, and they do not like humans. They want them to end their species. And then oryx are a sort of uh, female beings. They are also a species like crackers. And then pigoons are the genetically modified pigs, which are specifically used for creating organs in their bodies. So they are cyborgs because they have been modified for particular purpose. They are created for the particular purpose, and which was overtaken by multinational corporations, and then they are doing business with that. So cyborgs can be taken as able citizens. They basically enhance the capacities of human beings. They enhance their existing capacities, biological, cognitive capacities. They are far intelligent, and then they are efficient, meticulous than human beings. Then cyborgs are basically portrayed as threat for human beings in or eccentrics. Atwood shows a sort of worry while talking about this post-human society, that they are going to be threat for human beings if such kind of technology and this kind of advancements are not taken care, if they are not controlled, if they are not regulated nationally and internationally, if there are no any kind of regulating bodies on national and international level, if they do not restrict them, if they do not supervise them, if they do not watch over them, then we might end up into a dystopian society, in which we have hateness for human beings. By in one sense, we are aspiring to get a luxurious life, but that basically ends up with having hate for human beings. We are in a process of, as he says, as he portrays, we are in a process of creating a human garbage. Humans are waste. They are not useful beings, according to them, because uh, these cyborgs and then these other creatures, genetically modified beings, they are much more able than human beings. This is what is the venture of transhumanists. Then new species are taking over, then by default automatically these human beings will vanish from the world, and this is what is a sort of popular uh, fiction, and this is what is a sort of popular uh, imagination that has been done by portrayed by the writer. So the novel basically is an venture to create humans with perfect humanitarian. No, sorry. The novel is basically portrays that how humans are portrayed with perfect human traits, and then they are characterized by biological, cognitive, and prosthetic means, but how it can lead us into a chaotic society, how they can be that society can be a chaos, how that society can create a sort of horrific situation by uh, starting up with the business of human beings, business of organs, business of human trafficking, and lot many other things involved in it. Thank you very much for patience hearing.